Discover France, the world's most touristy country and its most fascinating curiosities. France, a country full of history, culture, and tradition, remains one of the most fascinating and visited destinations in the world. From its impressive monuments such as the Eiffel Tower to its charming villages and exquisite gastronomy, there is so much to discover. But did you know that there are facts and curiosities about France that few people know? Would you like to know how a small change in French culture impacted the whole world? In this video, we are going to explore some of the most amazing curiosities about France that will probably surprise you. What is the most curious thing you know about this country? Leave us your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to hit the like button if you are passionate about the history and secrets that France holds. Keep watching, because what you are about to discover will change your vision of this incredible place. France, the country that needs no introduction, is one of the most visited tourist destinations in the world. Every year, millions of people travel from all corners of the globe to marvel at its history, culture, gastronomy, and landscapes. But what makes this country so special? If you're one of those who think you know everything about France, think again. Throughout its rich history, France has accumulated a wealth of curious facts that often go unnoticed. From monuments that seem straight out of fairy tales to traditions as old as the country itself, you'll be surprised by everything you still didn't know about this European giant. Let's start with the numbers. France is by far the most visited country in the world. In 2019, around 89.4 million international tourists came to its coasts, cities, and monuments. Although the number of visitors has fluctuated slightly in recent years due to various global circumstances, it remains one of the top choices for travelers. Theme parks like Disneyland Paris, iconic monuments like the Eiffel Tower, and the beaches of the French Riviera are just some of the places that attract tourists from all over the world. However, beyond these famous attractions, France is a country full of secrets, from historic wine regions to curiosities that few know about. One of France's most distinctive characteristics is its love of wine. With a winemaking tradition dating back more than 2,000 years, the country produces an impressive variety of wines. In total, there are more than 10,000 vineyards distributed throughout its territory, and annual wine production exceeds 7 billion bottles. What many do not know is that the French consume more than 50 liters of wine per capita per year. Moreover, the Bordeaux region, famous for its wineries, is just one of many wine-growing areas in the country. What is interesting is that, despite being known for their wines, the French also have a complex relationship with their consumption. In recent decades, wine intake has decreased, but it is still a symbol of French culture. When it comes to gastronomy, France also boasts a number of peculiarities. Worldwide, French cuisine is recognized as one of the most refined and complex. In fact, UNESCO declared it Intangible Heritage of Humanity in 2010. The country is home to more than 400 different types of cheese, each with its own history and production method. If you ate a different cheese every day, it would take you more than a year to try them all. From creamy camembert to strong Roquefort, the diversity is so vast that it's hard to choose which is the best. In addition, the baguette, that long, crusty bread, is so representative of French culture that it has been incorporated into the daily life of the French in an almost religious way. Architecturally, France is not only home to the Eiffel Tower. Throughout its territory, you will find palaces, medieval castles, Gothic cathedrals, and Baroque mansions. The Palace of Versailles, for example, is one of the most grandiose and luxurious buildings in the world. This palace was originally a humble country residence that later became the royal residence under the reign of Louis XIV. Today, Versailles is one of the most visited monuments in France, and its extension is so vast that you could spend hours exploring its gardens and impressive rooms. Also, if you are an art lover, the Louvre Museum, located in Paris, is a paradise for lovers of painting and sculpture. It houses more than 35,000 works of art, including the famous Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. Another aspect that may surprise you is the size of the transportation network in France. The French railway system is one of the most advanced and efficient in the world. The high-speed train, known as TGV, train à grande vitesse, connects the country's major cities and reaches speeds of up to 320 kilometers per hour, 200 miles per hour. The TGV is a symbol of French progress and innovation, and its network extends not only within the country's borders, but also to several neighboring countries such as Belgium, Germany, Italy, and Spain. The efficiency and punctuality of the system are aspects that the French take very seriously, making train travel a comfortable and fast experience. Although Paris is France's most famous city, the rest of the country also offers an impressive variety of places to visit. From the high mountains of the Alps, ideal for skiing, to the sun-drenched beaches of the Côte d'Azur, France has a climate and landscape to suit all tastes. The Provence region, known for its lavender fields and peaceful villages, is another charming destination. Also, in the north of France, in Normandy, is Mont Saint-Michel, an island with a medieval abbey that seems to float on the water at high tide. This place has attracted millions of tourists over the years and remains one of the most impressive sights in Europe. France is also a place of cultural events. One of the most internationally recognized is the Cannes Film Festival, which takes place every year on the French Riviera. This event not only celebrates cinema, but has also become a must-attend event for the world's biggest names in entertainment. However, the country hosts many other festivals, such as the annual Eurovision Song Contest and the Aix-en-Provence Music Festival, where opera lovers can enjoy some of the world's most impressive productions. When it comes to sports, France also has a rich tradition. Soccer is undoubtedly the most popular sport, and the national soccer team has been one of the most successful in Europe. The country has won the World Cup twice, in 1998 and in 2018. However, it is not only soccer that is important, rugby and tennis also have a large fan base. The country's most famous tennis tournament is Roland Garros, which is part of the 4 Grand Slam tournaments. In addition, the Tour de France is one of the most prestigious cycling competitions in the world, where the best cyclists on the planet face off in an endurance challenge along the country's roads. Speaking of nature, France is also a country of great biodiversity. In its territories, you will find an impressive variety of flora and fauna. From the dense forests of the Vosges to the nature reserves of the Pyrenees, the country is full of national parks and protected areas. France is home to more than 60 species of mammals and more than 500 species of birds, many of which are unique in Europe. In addition, its coastline, which stretches for more than 4,000 kilometers, is home to a great diversity of marine ecosystems, making the French coasts an ideal place for nature lovers. France has also been a reference in philosophy, science, and the arts. Philosophers such as René Descartes and Jean-Paul Sartre left an indelible mark on Western thought, while scientists such as Louis Pasteur made fundamental advances in medicine. In the field of the arts, artists such as Claude Monet and Henri Matisse set the course for modern painting. Paris, in particular, has established itself as the art capital of the world, with renowned museums attracting millions of visitors each year. French, of course, is the country's official language, but not everyone knows that more than 75 regional languages are spoken in France. Occitan, Breton, and German Shepherd are just some of the languages spoken in different regions of the country. The French language, which has a rich history, has remained a symbol of cultural identity, but has also been a vehicle for diplomacy and literature. Finally, if you have ever had the opportunity to stroll through the streets of a French city, you will surely have noticed the number of cafés that can be found on every corner. Cafés are not only places to have a coffee, but also social centers where ideas are discussed, meetings are held, and the rhythm of daily life is lived. Sitting in a café and watching the world go by is undoubtedly one of the most typical pleasures of French life. In short, France is a country full of history, culture, and surprises. From its gastronomy to its art, from its monuments to its traditions, there is always something new to discover. And although many travelers only know the big cities and the most famous tourist destinations, it is in its small corners and everyday details where you can really find the essence of this wonderful country. France is not just a place to travel to, it is a place to live, feel, and experience. France, with its vast and rich history, is a place full of cultural peculiarities that make it unique. From its most ancient traditions to everyday habits, French culture remains a worldwide reference. For example, the French have a very special relationship with coffee, but not as a simple beverage. For them, going to a cafe is not just a drink, but a ritual that is part of social life. Many Parisians, for example, prefer to drink their coffee in a small glass cup that is served instead of the typical mug. In addition, cafes in France are meeting places where people gather to chat, discuss intellectual topics, or simply observe the passing of time. French fashion is another aspect that defines the country. Paris is known as the fashion capital of the world, and no wonder. Since the 19th century, the city has been the nerve center of haute couture and international trends. Famous designer Coco Chanel was one of the most influential figures in this field, revolutionizing women's clothing by incorporating more comfortable and practical elements without losing style. Paris Fashion Week continues to be a global event where the collections of established and emerging designers are presented, setting the tone for trends throughout the year. A very peculiar tradition in France is that of the Fêtes de Village, that is, the popular festivals of the small villages. While tourists may be familiar with the big festivities in Paris and the corners of France, local celebrations are essential to social life. These festivals are usually held during the summer months and are full of music, dances, and, of course, typical food. It is common to find barrel toss or sack race competitions, activities that invite the community to actively participate in the event. The importance of the French language lies not only in its use as an official language, but also in the fact that it is deeply linked to the country's identity. The French feel a strong pride in their language, and the government even created the Académie Française in 1635 with the aim of protecting the language. Over the centuries, it has been regarded not only as a means of communication, but as a cultural symbol of freedom and sophistication. The country's language policy has also had a global influence, as French is spoken in numerous countries in Africa and other parts of the world due to the history of colonialism. Cinema also occupies a fundamental place in French culture. France is considered the birthplace of cinema, as in 1895 the Lumière brothers made the first public screening of a film in Lyon. Since then, the film industry has grown, and French cinema has given the world a wealth of directors, actors, and iconic films. The Cannes Film Festival, held annually on the French Riviera, is one of the most prestigious events in the international film industry, and its influence on global cinema is indisputable. In addition to gastronomy, wine, and cheese, another fascinating cultural aspect of France is its passion for bread. The baguette is perhaps the most emblematic bread, but France is home to a great diversity of bread types. Each region has its own specialties, from the country bread of rural regions to the delicate croissants of Paris. It is not uncommon to see a Frenchman carrying a baguette under his arm as he strolls through the city streets. In many traditional bakeries, bread is still made by hand, following ancestral recipes. Bastille Day, celebrated on July 14th, is perhaps France's most important national holiday. It commemorates the storming of the Bastille in 1789, a key event of the French Revolution that marked the end of the Ancien Regime. On this day, France is filled with parades, concerts, dances, and fireworks. It is a reminder of the struggle for freedom and equality, fundamental pillars of the French national identity. The military parade on the Champs-Élysées is one of the most watched and celebrated moments of the day. As for curiosities, one of the most unique phenomena is the relationship the French have with flea markets. In cities such as Paris, Lyon, or Lille, flea markets, known as brocantes, are places where all kinds of antique objects are sold, from vintage furniture and clothing to art pieces and antiques. These markets, which have been around for centuries, not only offer unique products, but also represent a form of cultural recycling. You can find anything from a simple mug to a priceless painting, all in an atmosphere full of history. French savoir-faire, that is, the art of doing things with quality and elegance, is another characteristic celebrated in the country. This concept ranges from cooking to watchmaking, interior design to clothing. Many French luxury brands, such as Chanel, Louis Vuitton, and Hermès, are known for their meticulous craftsmanship. In fact, The creation of high-end products, whether a garment or a piece of jewelry, is considered almost an art. France has also been a hotbed of great minds. From philosophers like Voltaire and Rousseau to scientists like Marie Curie, France's intellectual contribution to the world has been immense. French literature, in particular, has produced authors whose books continue to be read and studied around the world, such as Victor Hugo, Marcel Proust, and Albert Camus. Parisian cafés, especially those located in the Saint-Germain-des-Prés district, were meeting points for writers and thinkers who defined philosophical and literary currents throughout the 20th century. France's architecture is also a testimony to its history and aesthetic sense. In almost all French cities and towns, one can find buildings dating from medieval, Renaissance, and Baroque periods. The Arc de Triomphe, in the heart of Paris, is not only a monument to victory, but also an example of the architectural grandeur that characterizes France. Gothic churches, such as Chartres Cathedral, with its intricate stained glass windows and tall towers, are another example of the mastery of construction that developed during the Middle Ages. In terms of its global influence, the impact of French culture on film, fashion, music, and the visual arts cannot be overlooked. It is common for the French to refer to culture with a capital letter, as they consider creativity and art to be part of their DNA. New Wave cinema, with figures such as Jean-Luc Godard and François Truffaut, revolutionized filmmaking, while French music remains a global benchmark, with artists such as Edith Piaf, Serge Gainsbourg, and Daft Punk leaving an indelible mark on international popular music. France is not only a country that looks to the past with pride, but also has a firm eye on the future. With its focus on sustainability, renewable energies, and the preservation of its cultural heritage, the country continues to be a leader in the modern world. In this way, France manages to combine the old with the new, the classic with the contemporary, and the local with the global, making it a nation that never ceases to amaze travelers and admirers from around the world. If you've been amazed by everything we've shared about France, don't miss our next content. Subscribe now to World in Evolution to discover more fascinating secrets of the most incredible places on the planet. Also, if you want to learn more about how to make the most of your potential and become a successful self-starter, visit our website selfmatamillionaires.online. We look forward to seeing you with more life-changing content.